Hi YouTube, it's Tracy from Queen of the Board and I have Runar from Ludus Magnus Studios here with me today, ready to play at last. We managed to paint up the Walrus clan, and so with my Viking posse, I'm going to be having a solo game. Come and join me. First, to tell you, this is definitely not a rules teach video. I'm sure to be making some mistakes. So please let me know in the comments and turn on the Klingon captions. Now, there have definitely been quite a few changes to the game over the last couple of years whilst it was still in development. So let's start with that first of all. As I'm playing with the Nemesis, I have the Nemesis board across the top. I think it used to have its own score track, but now the Nemesis will be sharing a score track with me. And instead, they've actually got their own Nemesis cards for the different types of nasty guys. So that will work very similar, as I understand it, to the way it does for myself. And up here, we have the pool I can draw from. Right underneath, it's quite helpful. It shows you that because I'm playing a one-player game, I have 4 of these Hiddlesvinis, and I just gave them a little bit of a white dry brush. So I have 4 of those. 2 are on the board and 2 in the pool. I have 2 Seegers in the pool and 1 Hofunder. I am not going to be doing a great job on the pronunciation of names, so please, sorry about that in advance. We also have the troll painted and ready to play. I'm not going to bring him out for today's game, but I will be doing a troll game really soon. Next up, we have the Destiny board. And so this Destiny board is the 1-player Destiny board. So you can see we'll have 4 event cards come out before. That is effectively the timer. Over here are the missions for the scenario that I'm playing. But as a solo player, we will not be including points from mission effects today. As I'm playing a solo game, I'm only using this 1/4 of the board. I'm not using my big play mat because that would be kind of crazy. And I've put my reference cards just to cover up the piece that we're not using today. Down here, now I could be using the play mat that the game comes with, but because I got the upgraded components, I really like these mini player mats they gave us. And so you'll see it actually has cutouts to hold the action tokens, which is really, really cool. Again, it's a little bit different, I think, from what we saw in the demo playthroughs, the prototype playthroughs before they delivered, but I really, really like what they decided to do. Now, for a solo game, you can choose any of the scenario cards that include a nemesis, and so I chose Frost Domain. And here are the special rules for the scenario. Thanks to apparent quietness, in fact, if I do draw the event cards, again, the timers to the game, they will be placed face down. So that should actually keep things a lot simpler. The second special rule is Freya's Invocation. That may help me get some of my heroes' cards back if they've been damaged from the Nemesis. We'll see how that works. Next, let's have a look at our Vikings. First of all, we have eBay. Or Ebb, perhaps. Here he is, all painted up, looking fabulous. And as I'm playing a solo game, I'm going to go ahead and choose to go for the legendary side. So we get some extra powerful Vikings. Here's Eric, our shark guy. Also on legendary and also coming in with 2 shields. And finally, here's Helga, our witch. Also with 2 shields and pretty good at collecting those runes. The last thing I need to do for setup is draw 6 of my hero cards and choose 3 to keep. Let's see what we find. We have 1 for Eric, 1 for Ebbe, Helga, another for Eric, Eric again, and 1 more for Helga. So I'd like to get a good mix of my heroes in my hand. So first of all, for Eric, we've got 3 to choose from. We could get 2 of the wild white cubes, We could trigger either the red or the blue power though, and his red power will actually give him an additional 2 green cubes. He's a sprinter, or blue is taunt. And that will allow us to control the location of either heroes or nemesis, any model on the board. So I think early on it's good to have the wilds. I'm actually going to take this card for Eric. We're definitely going to take this one for Ebbe, and then choosing between the 2 Helgas, they're actually the same, so we'll take these 3 cards into our hand. The others I'm going to put to the bottom of the deck, and I'm going to lay these here so you guys can see what I have to choose from. So reminder everyone, this is definitely not a rules teach, and I'm working my way through the rule book, and I will say it is a little tricky, especially for a solo game. The aim of the game in solo is still to get the most victory points, and the nemesis player, again, is on the same score track as I am. So how do we get victory points? By absorbing the shards, either the blue ones or the yellow ones, by doing damage to my opponent, by knocking out, KOing a nemesis player. And in this game, I won't be able to get any extra points as you normally would from missions. I think it's time to play. So we start with the tactical phase, and I have the option, if I choose to perform one of the tactics. I could coordinate to adjust some of the cards in my hand. I could fortify the shields. I could charge, which would help me with movement so long as there aren't people around me. I could build a segment of my statue. Now that is actually quite interesting, but maybe too early for now. Instead, I think we should start over here, right over here with Eric, as he's next to this Hiddlesvini. So I'm going to play his card, and that means I get to gain 2 of these white wild action cubes. I don't have to use them right now. I could save them for later if I wanted to. So for my first action, I am going to declare with Ebbe an attack on this Hiddlesvini. So at this point we pause, and it's going to look to see any adjacent nemesis around me, the total of their power, which is the blue value on the top left of their card. So the total is 0, it's only this one right here. Now, is that greater than or equal to the number of shields I have? 2. It is not, so I do not take damage. Because I am doing that one attack, I get to add 1 direct damage to this guy. And so I'm going to take an advantage card and put it on my board. Now, I don't think that I should take his card because they respawn and they don't become fully defeated as I understand it. But if I'm getting that wrong, please let me know. For my second action, I'll do the same again. We know that for the assault reaction, I'm good. So we do the second damage. And because his health is 2, I get to take him off the board. And I'm actually just going to pop him right here. Now I can see at the bottom of the card, the reward I get is an additional advantage card. So again, I'm hoping that I'm playing this correctly, but I would get 1 advantage card for the second damage, and then a reward of a 3rd advantage card, which means I have enough to get 1 victory point. So I'm off the mark and at 1. Next, I'm going to use my green action cube for movement. And I have 2, but I'm just going to move 1 so that I'm adjacent to this blue rune here. Now, his special power is that he can perform a wild collect action by spending any cube. And so, in fact, I'm going to spend the yellow cube and do that to collect this blue rune. So this comes onto my board, and I gain another victory point. So we're off to a good start, if I'm playing correctly. Next is the support phase. So I move Eric's card down to here, and I gain 2 green action cubes. And I get to draw back up to 3 cards. We know that it's going to be Helga, so she comes out. She's going to have a lot of movement cubes. Because I have a shard on my player board for the Destiny phase, we are drawing a card. And I find this one. And you can see that it's actually telling me to place in the bottom left down here a yellow shard. Now, unfortunately, we already have one there, so I'm going to draw again. Oh, and this time we find this card. And so aligning it here, you can see it's telling me to place one right here, a yellow. So we pop that one out like so. Next, it's the nemesis phase. And so we can see we do still have one Hiddlesvini right here. And I can actually see that in the activation deck, that is the top card. So let's take a look. Here's the card. And so if he can become adjacent to at least 2 heroes using 4 movement points, he will, and he absolutely can. He, in fact, only needs to move 1 space to do that. He's then going to perform a push action on each adjacent hero. So first of all, starting with Helga, he's actually pushing her into this danger token. Ouch. So as Helga is getting pushed into that danger token, in fact, I'm going to spend one of her shields to protect her. And so instead, the Nemesis receives one of these wonderful advantage cards. But that protects the cards that I have for Helga and helps protect her from getting KO'd. And I'll pop that damage token on the board right here. Next, he's also giving Eric a shove, and that one is diagonal, so he's pushing him this way 1 space. Now, one of Eric's special powers actually is that he cannot be the target of a push action, so he will stay right where he is. Next, we have enemy regeneration. So I checked to see if we have any out, and we did in fact lose this guy. And we can also see right here that we should have 2 nemesis enemies and 2 shards on the board. So right now we've got 2 shards and only 1 enemy. So to determine which enemy, we actually check the symbol on the bottom of the discarded card here. And luckily for me, in fact, it is another one of these Hiddlesvinis. And so it's telling me, in fact, that I'm popping it out right on top of this yellow shard token. And that is the end of the first turn. So we get to go again. Now, again, hopefully I'm playing this right. I'm very nervous that I'm not. I'm using Notebook LM, by the way, again, I've got all the rule books in there. And so when I do have questions, I'm trying to ask. So hopefully between you guys, me, and Notebook LM, we can figure this game out. So again, we check if there are any start of turn phase effects. There are not. I go straight into the tactical phase. So I'm not choosing to perform any tactics, and I'm going to go straight into my action phase. This time, again, I'm playing Ebe. So I gain 2 blue action cubes. So we'll spend 1 and then 2 to perform the 2 attack actions. Now, once again, I don't really need to check here for the aggression response from this guy because he only has a power of 0 and there's no one else adjacent to me from the nemesis. So those 2 attacks are going to get me 2 of these cards, taking him off the board. Once again, I get 1 more as the bonus, which is enough for me to gain another point. Next, I'll spend my wild action cube in order to absorb right here this yellow shard. That goes onto my board, and that one is spent, and that gets me another victory point. Next is the support phase. So thanks to Ebe's support, we gain 2 more blue cubes, which I'm sure will be very useful for more attacks later. We proceed to the Destiny we proceed next to the Destiny phase. And as I do have a shard on my board, we draw. And we find, in fact, one of the event cards. Now, remembering, because of the scenario rules, apparent quietness, this simply comes out onto the board face down. But according to the Destiny track, I should still have 2 shards on the board, so I will keep drawing. Let's see what we find next. Here we are. So putting this out close to the board, you can see that it's going to be a blue shard in this top right. So we pop this one up here. And next, because there is still a danger token right here, I'm going to draw one more time. And for the danger tokens, I can choose any one of these. So I'm going to place it right here, bottom, middle. I think that's right. So we put that one here. Over to the nemesis. So once again, we're looking for another Hiddlesviny action card from them. So not this one. Nope. Nope. Oh boy, keep going. And here we have it. Here is the card. So if there is a shard in the zone he is in, in fact, there is right here. He performs absorb in the zone he is in, then he performs a push action on each adjacent hero. So when the nemesis absorbs, it does it for a target area, and this is his target area. He won't take the shard away, but he is going to gain a victory point from it. So we move them up one. Then he tries to perform a push action on each adjacent hero, but there's no pushing a shark. Oh no, Eric cannot be the target of push. So Eric's gonna stay right where he is. Finally, we look at regeneration, and once again, we look at this card right here. Now, unfortunately, this spot is taken, so I'm gonna go to the next card. This one is blocked off by this rock. So we go to the next one down, and you'll see bottom corner that it's actually a level 2 nemesis. So we get to meet the Seeger. So this one goes back to the pool, and for the first time, Seeger is joining us to cause some mischief. And he's gonna jump right on this shard. So that is admittedly quite exciting. Next turn. Now I did forget to redraw, and so we find a new card here for EB. And this time I think it's time to meet Helga. So we'll be using her card right here, gaining a green and a yellow cube. So the first thing she's going to do is movement. And so I'm actually just gonna have her move 1 over 2 here. Next, she'll perform the collect action because she has the ability to do it with something that's a distance of 2 from her. Now, although diagonals are adjacent, when you're counting distance, you count it at 1, 2 diagonal. So we'll spend that yellow, use her power, and gain this yellow shard. So we gain 1 more victory point. Well done, Helga. We'll move to support, and so we gain a green and a yellow. I do need to be careful actually, because I'm almost full and you can't go over, you can't hold additional cubes. Drawing my replacement card, it's another Helga. And this time again, it's her special power. So this later is Ice Glide, and we'll take a closer look at that later. Going to the Destiny phase. Now again, I do have a shard here, so we are drawing. And it's a mission card, so we're not going to be, sorry, it's an event card. We're going to be placing that face down because of that apparent quietness effect. The timer continues, though we're already halfway through. Take a look at the second one, lining it up, and so this one is going to come out right here. Over to the nemesis. Now we can see already that the top card does match somebody on the board. So this Hiddlesviny is going to activate. And here is his action card. I'm really enjoying the nemesis action cards actually. These will trigger if they don't meet the requirements, but this keeps a lot of variety in the game. So if he can become adjacent to a shard by performing a movement action with 4 movement points. Well, he's already adjacent to a shard, so he can definitely do this. He's going to perform absorb on each adjacent, and then he performs a push action on each adjacent hero. So here he is, absorbing the power from that shard, gaining another victory point here. Trying to push the shark still, but he will not budge. And so that is the end of the nemesis. This time there's no regeneration, as we already have oh, no, look at that. We actually now should have 3 because this one came out. So there is a regeneration from the nemesis, and we check this card from the discard pile. It's telling me it's another Hiddlesvini, and it's going to be coming out right on top of this shard. He gets a friend. So here he is. The board is getting a little busier. No end of turn effects that I'm aware of anyway. No start of turn effects either. For tactical though, this time I'm actually going to perform a build action on my tower, I think. And so let's do that. I need to spend 2 cubes to do it. We've got lots of greens, so I think we'll spend a green. We'll spend 2 of our greens. Let's do that. Pop those back into the pool, and I get to add a layer to my tower. And because of that, I get one of these super awesome cards. Thank you very much, an advantage card. And I think it might be a good idea to deal with one of these at least. So I'm going to choose eBay to come on out again. So we gain this time a yellow cube, but one of his powers, the red one, is going to trigger Inspiring Presence. Either a hero, this one, gains 2 white cubes onto their card, or 2 gain 1 each. So I think what we'll do is we'll give him 1. And as we know Helga's likely to come up, I'm going to give her 1. And these are in their personal pools. So that's a pretty cool thing. Next, I'm going to have him move 2 to here with my green action cube, as I'm now in the actions phase. And I'm going to do 2 attack on this guy. So again, I'm checking, but he still only has a power of 1 adjacent to me. So I'll do 2 attacks, 1, 2, both hit, and those 1 makes a 3rd is worth a victory point for me. So I'll pop those in the pile. We go up 1 more on the track. And the reward, of course, is another advantage card, if I'm playing that correctly. I hope so. And this one comes off the board. I'll just pop him right here. The last thing I'm going to do is absorb this shard. I have a yellow right next to me, and I do have yellow cubes. I'm not actually adjacent to a nemesis now, so I'll spend that yellow cube and gain this yellow shard to my board. Again, gaining a victory point. So I'm doing quite well on that track, but it is my beginner game. And at that point, I'm going to just go straight to support. So we gain 1 yellow cube from that. There is 1 on my player board, so I'm going to draw. And again, up here, that's not good. We're going to have a yellow come right next to this seagull. Let's hope he's not absorbing this turn. Over to the nemesis. So I see his card. I'm kind of excited to see what he does. He can become adjacent to any hero of the leader by performing a movement action with 4 movement points. Well, actually, he would go 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think he can 1, 2, 3, 4 movement points. Oh boy. Then he performs an attack action on each adjacent hero. Oh! So I have a choice. I can either spend my yellow cube for defense, which will cancel the action to attack me, or I use my shield, but they would still get an advantage card and I lose the shield. So I think we spend the yellow cube to cancel that attack. Once again, we have nemesis regeneration, as we should have 3 on the board. And so looking right here, you can see it's the 1, again, this little guy coming out, and he's going to pop up right on top of this yellow shard. New turn, no tactics from me. We're going to go straight into actions. Let's see what we get. I forgot to refill this again. It's Eric. Not a very strong card there from Eric. So we'll go for Helga. We are going to use this one that has her special power on it. So popping that out, I get a blue action token that will allow me to collect, attack, or trigger. But most excitingly, I get to use her Ice Glide ability, so I get to place another hero on a free node of my choice, and they get to perform a collect action. So, and I believe that that's free I'm going to move, let's move Eric. I'm going to move him up to here. Let's have him perform the collect on this guy. So we grab that one, fantastic, gaining a point. And then we're going to go straight to support. So I'm going to flip her and we gain another blue. Destiny phase, again, I have a shard, so let's see what we find. It is, ooh, look at that. So that's going to go onto the board. Still 2 shards and 3 nemesis. Right now I've only got 1, 2, but 1, 2, 3 nemesis, so we're good. Pulling again. This time it is this zone and it's right here and there is a trap, but you can still place out. So we're going to pop that one right on there. Ouch. It's the nemesis phase and it is the Hildesvini. So I'm actually not sure if they both activate, but let's just take the worst and say that they do. So let's find out. So if there is a shard in the zone that he is in, this one has one and this one, oops, this one has one. They both do. He performs absorb in the zone he is in. So I'm going to say that they both get a point each. Then he performs a push action on each adjacent hero. So let's check down here. No one is adjacent over here. Again, the shark can't be pushed, but he's at the edge of the board anyway. No need for regeneration this time. End of turn phase, start of turn phase, no special effects that I'm aware of. Tactical phase, I think this time I should build. So I'm going to spend my 2 blue. No, I'm going to spend, I'm going to spend a blue and a yellow. That's what we'll do. Blue and a yellow. And I get my top layer, which is pretty cool. This gains me. We haven't seen these cards before, but they're very cool because look at that. So this is known as an inspiration card and it actually gets added to my hand. I can use it with any hero and it's wonderful because it's going to give me plenty of wild white cubes. Of course, I should have again drawn during the support phase my next card, so I would have 4 in my hand. We should have another one here for Ebe, which would give him 2 yellow cubes. I don't love any of those, so I think what we'll do is play our inspiration card. Getting 2 white cubes, I'm going to choose Ebe to activate, I think. Yes, I'm going to choose Ebe, and the first thing I'm going to do is attack the Siga, because he's right there, and he actually only has 1 health if you check his card. So first of all, I'll spend a blue cube to attack. Checking his power. His power is actually 1, but I have 2 shields, so I'm okay, and there's no one else adjacent to me. So we do 1 damage. I do gain the card, and in fact, he is off the board. Let's take a closer look at his reward. And I'm going to choose to take, yeah, you guessed it, the advantage card, because the other one would give me points, I believe, to spend at the end of the game on upgrades. This right now gives me another victory point as it's my 3rd. So we go up 1 more on the track. Then I'm going to spend this 1 white cube actually as a movement. So I'm going to move 1 down here, right next to this Hildesvini. And then, once again, knowing that he has a power of 0, I'm going to spend both of these for attacks. So I can do 2 damage, I believe an advantage card for each. That knocks him out, so he also goes off the board. And the reward is another advantage card, so that gets me my additional point. Moving to support, I gain another 2 white cubes. Destiny, we didn't absorb any crystals or use any of these nasty harm tokens, so we go straight to the nemesis phase. And it's just this tiny little Hildesvini left on the board. And here is his activation card. If he can become adjacent to at least 2 of the heroes by performing a movement action with 4. So he cannot, in fact, this time, because 1, 2, 3, 4, he wouldn't actually be adjacent to 2. So instead, this time he's actually going to perform his standard action. And checking that on the card, he performs a movement with 3 movement points towards the closest shard. Well, he's actually already next to it. Then, if available in the reserve, and it certainly is, place another Hiddlesvini in an adjacent node. So I think the best place for him to do it would actually be right here. So folks, I think that's a great time to pause the game. Please let me know in the comments the rules mistakes that I've made. I'm sure I've made a bunch, and I want to learn how to play this game more and more and go through the campaign and try the trolls soon as well. So I'll make more videos, but I'd like some feedback before then. Things I really like. The miniatures are beautiful and I enjoyed painting them a lot. I think that these cards, these action cards, and the way that you're choosing to get the action cubes is really interesting. I also am glad that I'm at the higher, more developed stage of my Vikings. I think they're legendary size, something like that, because their powers are fantastic. I would like to see more of their powers coming out. Hopefully they will. Gameplay, in terms of replayability, I'm not sure for solo yet. I think this is wonderful for trying out your Viking clans, getting to know them, getting to know the nemesis. But I think I need a few more playthroughs to know if there's going to be enough in the campaign. I don't feel like it's really designed for solo, in truth. But this could be really awesome with a few friends on the whole board for sure. So let's see what happens. Please give me feedback again for the rules. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Bye.